Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking a look through the next batch of vintage Great Pan paperbacks from my collection. We'll be giving them the once over, giving them a clean, a tidy, and basically getting them looking as good as possible. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's take a look. Okay then, so we're starting off with G360. The bone is pointed. This one dates from 1960. So I think all the ones that we'll be looking at today will be from sort of 1960, 61, 62. That sort of period in Pan's history, which was a great period because they had really, really nice jackets at that time. This one's actually been laminated, which they've not done a bad job. I don't tend to like books that have been laminated per se. So this is just in here sort of on borrowed time until perhaps a better one comes along. But apart from that, one thing you can say about laminated books is it does, as a general rule, really protect the covers of them. Although that does look a little bit washed out, doesn't it? But hey ho. Eric Ambler, 363. The Writer's News. Yeah, so last week we did the second part of the Doctor Who books. There is, as I said, one more part to come with those. There'll be one more third entry in the Doctor Who series to finish those off. But they've gone very well, and next target in that sort of area will be the Star Trek paperbacks. That one's borderline. It's just about hanging in there. Forever Tomorrow and Duffield. I know that this particular period of Pan was not an area that I specialised in, so the ones that we're seeing in a lot of cases were ones that just came my way sort of in charity shops and car boot sales, that sort of thing, maybe in a couple of big collections that I bought, rather than off dealers or anything like that, you know. So there will be a few questionable ones. In fact, I think I am going to put G366, Forever Tomorrow by Duffield. I'll add that one to my upgrade list. But quite recently, I love that PEF cover. Quite recently, I went to an SF specialist dealer. Dorset Bob is his name. And that's another one which is borderline. He collects pans, and he only collects them in absolutely pristine condition because he's a bit restricted for space, and it really puts these into perspective. We were discussing that because we're from like two separate schools. I would always rather have a tatty copy, as long as it's not absolutely fallen to bits. I would be happy with a tatty copy in my collection, such as what we see here, until a better one comes along, rather than not have a copy at all, because you can always upgrade down the line, and sometimes you don't see these books that often, you know. So this one is a reprint, but it's the reprint with the new cover, G370. Passionate City. Bit of toning on this one. So I filled up a complete comic box full of vintage pans. The next one's to do. We are over halfway through the pans now. I'd say probably a little over halfway, but not quite 2/3 of the way yet. So we're certainly getting through them, and I have been thinking of going back over the pans on the main channel, at least doing the numbered only series, and maybe split that into, say, 3 videos, each video covering, say, 150 or so books, and do, because I've got the full run of the numbered only series. Now this is going to go on the wants list. So this is 373, headed for a hearse, Jonathan Latimer. He only wrote 4 books. I've got all 4 of them, and he's a great writer. So I shall keep this one as I'm going to try and get an upgrade of that, and then keep that one as a reading copy, because it's a good one, that. So I think it would be quite fun to go back now. Now that I've licked that the original numbered only series and maybe do a proper brand new sort of retrospective look, because it's been a few years since I've had them out on the main channel. I'm still actively collecting the great pans and the pan giants. And as I said, I went to see Dorset Bob in the week, and I was able to pull, I must have got at least another dozen pan books for my collection, so that was pretty good. This is another one going on the upgrade list, 376, Cabbage Holiday. Definitely the worst for wear. And in a way, I'm almost a little bit embarrassed about having this one in my collection now, because it really is such low grade compared to a lot of my other stuff. But it would be the same with Penguin. I would always keep a lower grade copy just until a better one came along. But in the case of the Penguins, certainly the main series Penguins, there's not that many I want to upgrade anymore, because there's plenty of Penguin book dealers. It's not the case with pan books. There are dealers with some pan books in their sort of inventory, but there's not that many actual well, there isn't any specialist pan dealers out there. So this one's nice. I'd like a better copy, obviously, of the Agatha Christie, but it's borderline, but it'll just about do. The Door with 7 Locks. He's all right. Killer Mine. Had a few of these through my hands. So, yeah, having a look through Bob's collection, you see, his books, because he's only got limited space, and he loves the pan cover artwork, he's only really got room to collect and keep the very, very best of it. So last time I was up there, I was able to actually film his collection, and that'll be out, if you're watching this the day of release, it's going to be out sort of Sunday week. So yeah, keep an eye out for that on my main channel, because it's really, the copies of his pan books are just like new. It's really incredible to see. He mentioned a story where there was a chap who was quite well off, and he was a book collector, and as the books were coming out, that one's just in a bag, it's already been cleaned, just because it's a really, really nice minter, so I won't take that one out of the bag. And this guy, yeah, he was quite well off, and he would buy a lot of books, I mean an awful lot of books in different languages, and but what he would do, he was really paranoid about any sunlight getting to them, so all the books that he got, he wrapped them in brown paper to avoid any sort of exposure to any sunlight at all, and obviously that protected them from things like damp and things like that. And then when he died, his estate came up for sale, or someone was doing a house clearance, something like that, and a book dealer friend of mine, someone who Dorset Bob knew, he had the call to say, would you like to come down? There was a few thousand books like this, and they were all wrapped up, and it included all these beautiful, really nice high-grade pans. In fact, that's a particularly nice one. These really, really nice pans. But they were all wrapped up in brown paper, so the guy said, well, I'll take a punt because I can't see what I'm buying, And he paid £500 for the few thousand books, and obviously did incredibly well. But some of the books that Bob has got are from that collection. They're like mint unread sort of copies from that slightly eccentric collector from way back, You couldn't make these stories up, could you? Well, so far we've not had to do a lot of work on these, have we? Obviously I have had multiple pan collections through my hands over the years, and I've always upgraded, but that's really, really dirty, isn't it? It's going to really benefit from a clean. But some of them are still, this is a really common book, a real bestseller for pan. Yeah, I'm surprised my copy isn't even better than the one that I've got, because I must have had multiples through my hands over the years, of this. And generally speaking, before I'll move a book on, I'll always check it against the one in my own collection. That's how I've always done it with all my different collections. I think any collector, if they've got the time, would do such a thing, It's a nice one. It's a scarce copy, this one, a scarce book rather. My copy's not great, but it'll do for now. I seem to remember I got it pretty cheap. It was like only a couple of quid, but it's a book in top shape. It might sell for £25. That one, the Talented Mr. Ripley. It's quite a scarcity, that one. And absolutely gorgeous condition. A Hans Hellwig cover. So they are out there. In fact, that may be one I got from Bob last time I visited. Let's start another pile here. So we're going to do them in the usual sort of fashion, but this one needs an upgrade. This is G399, the millionth chance. Look at the state of the spine. Very, very ropey. I mean, this is almost... Dear, oh dear. It's really, really bad, isn't it? I'm surprised I even allowed this one to get into the collection because it's really, really borderline. But there you go. 7 years in solitary. The thing is, with my Pan collection, it's not the same as my Penguin. I'm not in the same advanced stage with it. I've picked them up as my second big main publisher, and I've really not gone out of my way to try and fill in all the gaps. However, when I get presented with a nice load, like I did rather when I went to Bob's last time, I made a point of going through and pulling out as many missing ones as I could find, and a couple for upgrade as well. But one good thing about recording these videos and then putting them online is that you have a permanent record. I can just go back into one of my videos if I was away and I just couldn't remember the condition of something. I could go back into one of my videos and check it out. Right, this one's going on the upgraded list as well. G409, A Woman Doctor Looks at Love and Life. Got a PEF cover. That's probably scarcer than you might think. Something like that. Yeah, definitely not for the subject matter, but nice PEF jacket on that. Hilary Wall, Last Seen Wearing. That was the name of Colin Dexter's first Inspector Morse. It was titled Last Seen Wearing, which became a real crime classic. I wonder if Colin Dexter pinched the title. The Juryman, Donald Mackenzie. This really is a sort of classic period in Pan history, in paperback history, really, not just Pan. It's all the publishers. Cavalier's Cup. Look at the dirt on the top. Really, really going to benefit. I think, unlike the Doctor Who books last week, we're going to be really feeling the dust on these, I think, this time round. In fact, I'll put that on the wants list if it's not there already. G413, Midnight Lace. Nice copy of that. Once again, a nice PEF illustrated jacket. Sophie. Tiny tear in the cover of that one. The Case of the Angry Mourner. What a jacket that is, eh? Another PEF classic. Just see his signature down the bottom there. mess from that. Let's move that pile along a bit. Seedman and Son. Yeah, a few of these are a little bit borderline, but I knew that that was going to be the way. Now this one actually is going to need a bit of gluing, so we'll flick through first. Yeah, the covers come away there, which is not in a great spot either. Not ideal, but we could put some glue just down that bit of the top of the spine first of all. And a little bit's actually squeezed over, which we can use on the front bit of the cover. I don't want to put tape on there, but I did want to just get that little bit in there. There we are. Another one really, really rough and ropey. G422, the opposite sex. Upgrade required. Dear, oh dear. Always another door. A few copies of this one through my hands. Cannibalism and human sacrifice. Wow. What a subject. Probably, I mean I don't know, but probably a collectible subject. Because that's how these things go in the world of vintage paperbacks. The more offbeat the subject, the more people are likely to collect it. Nice little pile here. A movie tie-in there. It's another one which is quite the worse for wear. Yeah, just a tiny bit of glue in the corner there I think is required. There we are. Just a slither. But yeah, not exactly a great copy, that one, but we'll make do. Another Patricia Highsmith. Don't know if she's that collectible, but certainly that first Ripley book is a collectible pan, you know. And I would imagine the original hardback must be very expensive. Okay, so this one, once again, it's just a very tiny little bit at the bottom to put a bit of glue in. Stop that catching anymore. Doesn't need a lot, just a little bit. Okay, and then this one's multi-layered, so there's a second layer there to grab, you see that? So we'll push the first layer down and use any excess glue on the second layer and fold that over. There we are. It's funny the difference, and some of them are just so rough. Some of the more obscure titles, they're the ones that I think are harder to find in great shape. Certainly like the Saint, where I've probably had 2 or 3 copies through my hands and has been saved. They've preserved themselves in better condition. But something like that, G443, Love and Marriage, like a marriage guidance book, much scarcer to find in nice shape. So that's on the upgrade list, 443. Good speaking. Now this is one of those slightly weird ones which couldn't have had much of a print run, but in actual fact that isn't too bad. It's had next to no use. So it's swings and roundabouts, isn't it? This one's in hardback. It's got a little hardback stamp on. Had this one for a long time. Picked up as an oddity. I've still yet to get the regular edition of it, just this bound library edition. Here's another one to go on the upgrade list, G449, Shadow of Time. Another one looking much the worse for wear, really faded. That should be nice and bright, and it looks like it's got wet as well. And this one's also going on the wants list. The last one, G450, Case of the Grinning Gorilla. This is literally one step from the bin. It's absolutely hammered, but I'm reluctant to get rid of it until a better one comes my way. But now that I know, now that it's on my upgrade list, you know, I can at least keep an eye out for it. Right, let's give them all a brush. Right then, so next step is get these brushed off. Now, I am expecting quite a bit of dust off these because the books are in such, you know, mixed conditions. So I imagine we're going to be generating a bit of dust today. Too bad. Just seen one of these, it's got a name on the top. Let's get the rubber on. I'll see if I can rub that out. There we are. Hasn't got it off completely, but it's better than nothing, you know. Lovely. Quite dusty. I want to make sure we do these in order. So this is the next pile in actual fact. So turn them over that way around. another pile over there. Always the top edges, of course, that generate the most dust, because that's where the dust tends to settle if the books have been on a shelf. Okay, that's the second pile, so let's move these around. Pile number 3 is here, so let's turn them all upside down. What I tend to do, because they can be a bit heavier, I can comfortably hold 3 or 4, so depending on the thickness, because you want to hold them quite tight so that the brush gets into all the little grooves. I think what we'll do, before I do any more after this, I'm going to pull the camera out a little bit so you can get a better view of what I'm doing. There we are. Hopefully you can see a bit better now. The scrubbing process. You see, in some cases, plumes of dust is coming off. I've just wiped the lens as well, because I think it can, in circumstances such as this, it can get a bit dusty with all the dust flying around here. And we don't want that, do we? Okay, let's get the last pile out. This is definitely the messiest part of the process. Pop that wedge over there. dust coming off these. And also looked, yeah, there's one of these that actually needs a touch of glue. Yeah, it's in there, just in the top of that spine. So sometimes I don't notice it until I actually get brushing rather. So it's nothing to slip a bit of glue into that little slot there at the top of the spine, just to stop it getting any worse. It's not a great copy, unfortunately, of this sort of movie tie-in, but as I said, with the pans, often it's the case that I'm just glad to have a copy, and it'll do. It'll do until something better should come along, you know. And I'm always got my pan radar, looking for new acquisitions, of course, but I don't really buy these off eBay like one at a time or anything like that. I'm just like to buy in bulk, basically, and then go through them that way. Pretty nice little wedge, that. I just noticed that one's got an Australian 4-shilling sticker on. Don't see those very often. Dirty top edges here again. But it really does make a huge difference with these. And they just look so much better once they're on the shelf. And I've got the knowledge, blimey. And I've got the knowledge that they're as clean as I can make them anyway. Let's go right into the atmosphere, but that's the last little wedge done on the polishing side. So I shall let the dust settle, and then we'll get polishing. Okay then, so back to the start. Got my Mr. Sheen. We'll choose a corner which is unsullied, which is this one here. Get the old cloth impregnated with Mr. Sheen action. Let it soak in a little bit. Now, all these books from this period in pan are absolutely fine to be polished because they've got glossy covers. They're not matte at all. So we're okay. We're good to go on these. But obviously, not all books from this period in early 60s are like that. Some of the Penguins and Pelicans and things like that, even though they're from the same era, they're not polishable. So don't take it as fact. If the book has got like a matte finish, then chances are if you polish it, it's going to do more damage than harm. So my suggestion would be, if in doubt, leave it out. But if you're absolutely confident that there's not going to be a problem, then go for it and give them a once over like I'm doing, because you're not going to do any harm, but you will be taking off lots and lots of dirt and dust that you may not have even seen before. Mark on the back there. Don't know what it is, doesn't seem to want to come off. Bit unusual. But another little rule is, if you come across something like that, don't force it. you know, like a sticker that's being stubborn, just leave it on. Because sometimes you can do more harm than good. But yeah, this was a particularly fairly rotten lot, this, with lots and lots of upgrades, but it doesn't matter. As I said, I'm always happy just to have a copy of a book and then upgrade it down the line should a better one come my way, particularly with Pan. I think they're not my main collection, you know, that's for paperbacks, that has to be Penguin still, but they're definitely the runner-up. And I think sometimes I get a lot more enjoyment out of collecting Pans because, generally speaking, there's not that many that are really expensive, so they're much better value than the Penguin books, which, you know, the Penguin Crime, I know they got their own sort of fans, but they can appear really overvalued sometimes, but it's only because there's just not that many to go around of certain wartime issues, and that's what makes them collectible and expensive. But we've not done any Penguin main series for a while, and I am looking ahead to seeing what we could do next week. Now, I am tempted to do the next little batch of large format books, and the reason for that is because where I've done it in the office, the books are now looking so much better and really, really tidy and sorted. So it may be large format books from the office. I've got probably a couple of videos worth of just general fiction, non-collectible stuff, books that are, you know, holiday reading, if you know what I mean, that sort of stuff. So that needs to be sorted, and lots and lots of hardbacks. But the hardback process isn't really as complicated as this. They'll need going over and perhaps a brush down in that, but unless I'm planning to put every dust wrapper in a wrapper, which I'm not, it's not such a long process. Now, one thing I have noticed is that my friend Steve the Outlaw Bookseller and a couple of other people I've seen recently, including Dorset Bob, all their hardback books are wrapped up in like magazine bags, a bit like comic bags, but you can fit a hardback book in, and it does keep the books from aging so badly, and obviously keeps the dust off them. So I am actually tempted to possibly bag my books that way. I don't particularly, you know, only the hardbacks. I don't particularly want to go down that route, but I'm a bit stumped as to what other thing I can do with it, really, you know. So, well, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, next week it's either going to be main series Penguin, which we haven't done for a while, or something from the office room, which once again, it might be large format, it might be those paperbacks, it might be something completely different, but we're making good headway with the large format books, and I sort of want to keep that momentum going, really. Yeah, that really is a dog. Bit of a dog, that one. Lovely cover, that one, by Oval. Very, very nice, Tamiko. Old Erskine Caldwell did so many books, and I think they were all published by Pan, I think, at one point. Obviously a big seller for Pan. Yes, a few slightly questionable titles, not titles, but copies in this week's video, but there you go, that's the luck of the draw. That's sometimes how it goes. They can't all be lovely all the time. Anyway, that's stack number one. Right, on to the second stack. A bit more Mr. Sheen required. So thankfully I've had a couple of days off before I start my training on my my new role in my work. So for that I'm having to go full time, and I won't have so much time for filming or anything, but I've been able to use the time I have had off to get a little bit ahead of the game again. So hopefully we won't have a repeat of a couple of weeks back when I had to miss a week, which was unfortunate, but it is what it is. Sometimes it's just inevitable. Life gets in the way. How dare it? I hear you cry. But there you go. So it hasn't been anything like as bad as I thought. The fact that I've only missed one video is actually pretty good, in all honesty. I did expect it to be much worse than that. So that's cool. I am pleased with that. And I did enjoy going through those Doctor Who books. I tell you, that was incredibly good fun and quite nostalgic as well, because I hadn't had them out for ages, and it did make me want to try and fill in the gaps, but they're a little bit more than I want to be paying the ones that I've got missing, and I'll get them eventually, I think. But I'm hoping, because the easiest way to buy stuff like that is just to buy like someone's collection, and although you'll be doubling up on some, you can always sell the doubles on, you know. And with Doctor Who books, you find that people collected them. They pretty much did collect the whole lot. It's really, there's nothing like it, because unlike the Star Trek books where there's like 1,000+ books, with the original Doctor Who run, they did the whole lot in about 160 odd books. And then yes, there's a few reprints and there's a few spin-offs and making ofs and things like that, but even with all of them, original wise, if that's what you're looking at, you're only looking at about 180 books, which actually isn't bad. So consequently, people who collected those Doctor Who books did collect them for quite some time, and they used to collect pretty much the whole lot. So when I had my shop back in the 90s, Purple Haze, we would regularly get people coming and say, oh yeah, I've got a collection of Doctor Who books, and it would be pretty much every one. There might be, you know, the odd couple that were missing, but I was amazed, you know, how many people, men and women, actually had full runs of the Doctor Who books. It's just incredible. Now, they weren't always first editions by any means. You know, the early ones were reprinted and reprinted lots and lots of times. But even so, it always made me, you know, raise an eyebrow or two that we were getting like these big collections offered to us. But the problem was, the original books, because they were reprinted so often, they were really actually quite common, and we would have a steady supply of people looking for the last sort of 50, but the first 100 or so, which are much more common, we were ending up with 3, 4, 5 of each book in stock, which wasn't really any good, and we had to sort of slim it down a bit. But when people would come into the shop and they say, oh yeah, I've got a collection of Doctor Who books, they generally wanted to sell the whole lot in one hit. They weren't looking for you to like cherry pick the best of it. So often, you know, we would just buy the whole lot and just have to sit on them. We did sell everything through in the end, of course. When the shop closed down, we moved everything online, and we did move it all eventually. But that was a process that took years to sell it all. You know, even I remember selling the last few Doctor Who books in big job lots of like 45 different vintage Doctor Who books, but it was all this period when they were really quite common, you know, and that's just how it was. That's how things were back in the day. Now I've just got this last little wedge of pile number 2. Then I'm going to have a little bit of a break because the youngsters next door, it's a Saturday afternoon as I'm filming this one, and for a change the sun's actually come out, so I think they're out in the garden playing, and rather than have distracting children in the background, I shall go in and get myself a nice cup of coffee, and I shall be back to film the last couple of piles, give them a bit of a polish and finish this video off. So even though for yourself it's just going to be a simple screen goes to black and then comes back and I'm doing it, in real life it's probably going to be the best part of a nice hour's break. So I shall be back in a moment, and we'll continue with the last half, getting those polished. Okay, so I have a little bit of peace and quiet now, and I can just do these last couple of piles of books. Can't really complain, can I? Well, I suppose I can, but just took a little commercial break. Because of where I live, often we get seagulls and stuff swooping down and making a racket, but we'll let them off as well. Some people are sort of used to that sound in the background, but I haven't heard any today. So it's because the weather's actually been really, really nice. So they tend to be down by the seaside. Simple as that. Actually, I remember I used to have one. It's not that one. I've got one by that author, I think, which has got like some sort of pan promo slip in, as I recall. I think you would have seen it when we were cleaning, wouldn't we? Yeah, so it's been quite a busy month, but it's also been quite a productive month. So I'm not really complaining at all. And looking ahead, things are much better than I was expecting with fitting, working and filming and stuff like that, getting it all sort of fitted in. I think it's going to be absolutely fine, which is the main thing, really. As I said, I've really been enjoying the books I've been picking up from Dorset Bob, and I'm going to try and make another trip to Zardoz Books, All You Need Is Books, as well, if I can. My friend George is looking to get his Doctor Who collection from the 1970s filmed next, so that's going to be quite a monumental job getting all that catalogued. But the 60s collection went down really well, and he really has got quite a collection of stuff. So I'm going to be looking to do that. I've got another toy fair coming up towards the end of the month at Exeter, so I'm going to try to get to that one if possible at the Matford Centre, which should be quite good. I like to go to the toy fairs if I'm free that day. There really were some absolute dogs in this selection this time around, but also some excellent ones like that copy of The Forger, which is probably the second or third at least that I've had through my hands. So I've had a chance to upgrade it a few times to a decent copy. It's a really nice one, that. Another bit of something on the back, which we've managed to get off with a fingernail and polish, which is often all that's required. It's a little bit of dirt or something like that, you know. There we are, so that's stack 3. Excellent stuff. We've got one more pile to do for this time round. I think what I'm really craving at the moment for my pan books is another nice big bookcase that I can put them next to, you know. So they are a little bit sort of packed at the moment, and I would like to spread them out. So I might need to do a little rejig of the old collection a little bit and see if I can make a bit of room for some more pans, so I can get them all out together, because they are all sort of shelved together at the moment, but I have sort of run out of room, and I'm in desperate need of a bit more space for the pans in particular. So I think I'm going to need to work on that. Now, I've got some space, but I'm also thinking that there are some series which are like done and dusted, which I might now, you know, they're done, they're clean, they're in a great state, as good as I'm going to get, and I'm going to just box those up, and for the time being, and I'll just pop them into, not storage, but they'll still be with me should I need them, but they're not going to be on a bookcase, on a bookshelf, and it'll create some room for the stuff that I'm still sort of actively collecting, if that makes sense. So I don't think that's going to hurt at all. And these pans sure do look fantastic when they're all shelved together. They really, really do. But that's going to mean getting a little bit creative. A tiny sticker mark, which has come off absolutely perfect with a bit of polish. That's lovely. Yeah, I wish my copy of The Talented Mr. Ripley was in as nice condition as that particular Highsmith. That's actually a film I've not seen for like a decade. The Talented Mr. Ripley. I remember it being really, really good. So, ironically, because I need to get a little bit ahead of the game because of my work training, I'm actually going to be filming the very next part tomorrow, so I can get a little bit ahead of the game. So if I can, and if I get a chance, it's going to be the next run of Vintage Penguin. But if not, it'll be some more large format books from the studio, which I'm guessing it's probably going to end up being. That is my suspicion anyway. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this one. It's nice. Always nice to see pans, in my opinion. I absolutely love them, and it's good to see the end is in sight. I've got more than I need, shall we say, or I'm looking for. But whether it's a series I'll ever lick, probably not. Same as the Penguins, I'll probably never get them all. There's always more that get found and discovered, and some which are just so obscure that they just never come your way. But that's part of the fun of collecting, isn't it, you know? Certainly when you collect by publisher. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed today's video anyway. And if you have, please give it a like. If you've not already, hit the subscribe button, please. And I shall be looking forward to seeing you again in a week's time, when hopefully I've got some slightly better condition books for us to have a clean off. But thanks for watching today. Bye.